And agricultural news from agview.net. USDA says farm sector production expenses, including those associated with operator dwellings, are forecast to decrease by $4.6 billion in 2020. In nominal terms, that is, which means not adjusted for inflation. A 1.3 drop from the previous year. The expenses represent the costs of all inputs used to produce farm commodities. They strongly affect the farm profitability. Although the overall production expenses are projected to drop, there are differences between some specific expenses. Specific expenses forecast to increase in 2020 account for about 69% of the total and are projected to collectively rise by $6 billion relative to 2019 and before adjusted for inflation. Now, these include the two largest categories, feed purchases and cash labor. Now, in contrast, expenses expected to decrease account for 31% of total expenses and are forecast to collectively decline by $10.6 billion between 2019 and 2020. Now, more specifically, livestock and poultry purchases expected to drop 7.5%, pesticides by 2.1%, and oil and fuel spending by nearly 14%. Interest rate costs are forecast to be at their lowest level since 2014, dropping by 27% from 2019. That's a result of historic low interest rates. The Kansas City Federal Reserve Bank says that the outlook for agriculture credit conditions in the 10th District improved in the third quarter, due in part to rising commodity prices and additional government and aid to producers. Now, after dropping sharply in the second quarter due to disruptions of COVID-19, prices for most ag commodities began to rebound in the summertime. The Fed reports say the increasing demand supported additional increases in crop prices through the third quarter and into the month of October. That expanded profit opportunities for many producers going into the harvest season. As a result, credit conditions deteriorated at a significantly slower pace. The number of bankers reporting declines in farm income and loan repayment rates dropped from the prior quarter. And the ink is officially dry on the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership that was signed by China and 14 other nations recently. The signing ceremony came about 8 years of talks leading up to one of the world's largest regional free trade agreements. Now, the pact is somewhat limited in scope. It still covers about 2.2 billion people, and that's larger than any previous regional free trade agreement and likely helps improve China's image as the dominant economic power in Southeast Asia. It also comes as the U.S. withdrawal from sweeping trade deals appear to be reshaping some of those global relationships. Other countries continue to sign trade deals. Some trade experts say that American importers may lose ground. Well, more on these and other ag stories at agview.net. Stay with us.